All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about a ritual that Christians have been celebrating and honestly arguing about for centuries: baptism.
You know the debates, right? Should it be infants or adults? Do you sprinkle or do you dunk someone all the way under? People have argued about this stuff forever. But what if? What if, while we're all caught up in the how and the when, we're totally missing the why, the real point of the whole thing? So, to really understand what's at the core of baptism, we've got to go back to the very beginning. I'm talking about the one baptism that pretty much every Christian tradition agrees on: the baptism of Jesus. All four Gospels tell this story, and it's here that we find out it's about so much more than just a ceremony. See, for Jesus, this wasn't about, joining the club. He was already, well, him. This was something different. It was a declaration. It was all about identity. And this line right here, this is everything. As Jesus comes up from the water, this voice from heaven booms out and says exactly who he is. This isn't just some nice phrase. It's the key that unlocks the entire meaning of baptism. Now here is where it gets really wild. That same identity, that same declaration is meant for every single person who is baptized. It's like you're being named all over again. You have your birth name, sure, but then you're given this other name, this other identity: God's beloved. It's this profound moment of being told, you are precious. The whole universe is glad you're here. The writer Anne Lamott puts it so beautifully with this image. It just perfectly captures that feeling of being completely, utterly adored. This isn't about being good enough or checking off boxes. It's about this unshakable, deeply personal sense of being cherished. And that is the identity baptism is all about. Okay, but here's the thing. That's a beautiful idea, right? But holding on to it in the real world, man, that's a whole different story. It's a constant struggle. Because the second that moment is over, we're right back in the thick of it. And we're surrounded by all these other voices. And let me tell you, they're telling us a very, very different story about who we are. This slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? It's the central conflict we all live with. On one side, you've got this voice of baptism saying, you are beloved. You are enough. But on the other side are all those voices from the world, and let's be honest, from inside our own heads saying, you're not good enough. You're defined by your mistakes. It's a constant battle. And where do these negative voices come from? Well, everywhere. Maybe it's an echo from your childhood trying to meet someone's expectations. Maybe it's a boss who only ever points out what you did wrong. Or it could be these huge societal messages about your worth based on where you're from or what you look like. The scary part is, eventually, we start to believe them. They become this little voice inside our own heads, just on a loop, telling us we'll never be good enough. So, what do we do? How do we possibly hold on to that beloved identity? Well, the secret isn't just in that one moment in the water. The real power is in the community that helps us keep fighting back against all those other voices. And this isn't just a theoretical idea. It has been an absolute lifeline for people who were systematically told they were worthless. A powerful example of this comes from enslaved African Americans in the 19th century. I mean, the entire system, legally, socially, was designed to tell them they weren't fully human. But in secret, they held baptisms to claim a completely different truth. For them, this was a radical act of resistance. Think about it. In a world that treated them like property, this ritual was a declaration that they were fully human, worthy of love and grace. For many, it might have been the only time in their life they heard a voice speak over them and say, you are precious. You can hear the power of this idea woven all through their spirituals, especially the ones about water. And this all points to a really different way of thinking about faith. It's not about a list of rules you have to follow. No, according to the theologian Howard Rice, faith is much simpler. It's just this deep gut feeling, an inner knowing that you are loved. Loved in a way you can't even fully grasp, a way you could never earn or deserve. It's just there. So, okay, how do we keep that inner knowing alive when the world is just so noisy? There's this amazing story about St. Francis of Assisi. His own father absolutely despised him for his choices and would literally follow him around town shouting curses at him in public. So what did Francis do? He found a beggar and made a deal. He said, listen, when my father is on one side hurling curses at me, I need you to walk on my other side. And while he's shouting, I need you to whisper God's favor in my other ear. Just keep saying, Francis, you are my beloved child. And that story, that's it. That's the whole point of a baptismal community right there. We're all basically just one beggar whispering into the ear of another.
Our job is to keep reminding each other of our true names. Because we all forget. We all need someone to whisper, "You are beloved," when the voices of the world start screaming. So I want to leave you with this question. In a world that feels so full of anger and division, what would actually change if we started seeing everyone this way? The stranger on the street, our neighbor, our friends, even our enemies. What happens if we treat them as if they too are precious? What changes if we remember that underneath it all, we are all the beloved?